Hi, good evening. My name is Rabi Anupindi. I'm a faculty at the Ross School of Business, and I'm here to introduce Sabina Tomkins. She's here, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. So Sabina is assistant professor in the School of Information, but she also is a faculty associate with the Center for Political Studies and the Institute for Social Research. She's a computational scientist who develops machine learning to advance public policy. I'm curious to know how ChatGPT affects her work. Curious thing to know, I didn't actually speak to her, so I'm just trying to figure out, going through her webpage. And it's interesting, on her webpage, it's something to do with travel and the web URL. So she thinks that being in academia is one good way to travel around the world, which probably is true. I would like to know where all she's been. And she claims her favorite food is soup, but I don't know what kind of soup, so maybe you can answer, Sabina, when we get here. So without further ado, Sabina.
Thank you. All kinds of soup. Yeah, so just a little bit about that phrase. Computational policy is kind of a new phrase, and so I just wanted to give a few examples of what that could mean. So one example is developing algorithms to nudge people to be more physically active. Another could be understanding what reduces voter participation using large data sources. And then also predicting how extreme weather events relate to illicit activity. These are all examples of how you could use computational systems to address policy questions. Today, I'm going to talk about the problem of recommending sustainable groceries at scale, asking you to suspend disbelief about what exactly I mean by sustainable. But I think all the other talks today can give you some examples of what sustainable means. You could think about sustainable coffee, and on Amazon there's many certificates promising that this coffee is good coffee. And how do we use all of that information to actually point consumers towards genuinely sustainable products? So the problem, why can't we do this easily, is that there's millions of products, and this is a ballooning problem, especially online. There's new generation. One relation to ChatGPT is people can now create fake products, and they could create fake reviews, and about 30% of all reviews online are fake right now. So we have this huge amount of product, and we want to navigate them to find across all groceries to be able to direct people towards the groceries that are sustainable. And this is where AI could come in. So how many of you know what a recommender system is? Okay, so basically when you go to Netflix and Netflix recommends a movie to you, it's using a massive amount of data, and it's looking at the movies you've watched and mapping you onto similar sets of customers. So the idea was, can we use this in a grocery setting to use customers who've actually found products that could be sustainable to use their purchases to help us discover more sustainable products. And underneath all of this is just a pretty generic but powerful recommender system. So our goal is to discover sustainable products without any labels from human experts like the people in this room, to find customers interested in them, and then to generate effective recommendations. So you're on Amazon, and we might say, you've bought this coffee, which is fair trade. Here's a better coffee that's better for the environment that you might be interested in. So we're going to use the past purchases of customers to say that if they've bought products that could be sustainable, they might be a sustainability conscious customer, and we're going to use their purchases to direct us to new products. And that takes the form of actually pretty simple logical rules. So for example, we could say if a brand is sustainable and a product belongs to that brand, the product's sustainable, and we can map different certificates to different levels of sustainability. Then we could look at people's purchasing behavior to say, if you've purchased a sustainable product in the past, you might be a sustainability customer, And if you have similar purchasing patterns to a sustainable customer, you might also be a sustainable customer. And then we could look at the products that sustainable customers have purchased to both predict and discover new sustainable products. One example of this is we found a donut. I forget the brand. It's one of those frosted donuts that does not look like your typical kind of the first thing you would think of when you think of a sustainable thing, but one of the experts on the team said actually this donut company has a commitment to sustainability and something about them is actually sustainable. So that's something that wouldn't have come up and we wouldn't have found just by looking through the data, but the machine said this is a sustainable product. So the takeaways of this work is that using these simple logical rules to think about how the past purchasing behavior could lead us to new products and reasoning about which certificates were actually worthwhile led to an improvement over a typical recommender system of 80%. And maybe more interesting for this crowd, we found we asked human evaluators whether or not they agreed with the model. They agreed about 74% of the time. And really, this is useful not to say that these products are truly sustainable, but to help us think how could we use this approach to figure out where to direct human attention, because human attention is the most valuable kind of attention out there. So I'll just end with this quick diagram of the vision and say that I really am here to get input and to hear people's thoughts on how to make this a more robust system, and I'm currently working with students in Cs, I don't know if any of them are here, to look at how we could use human reviews to kind of counteract some of the claims that companies are making. So greenwashing is very common on Amazon. How could we use customer reviews to say, this is an example of greenwashing, this is not a legitimate product? I don't know what's going on with the mic. Thanks.